Yo, what's up everybody, Stan up here. Today I'm talking about UFC Fight Night Krylov versus Spann. I'm going to be doing predictions. This is a first quick look that I've done. I haven't really researched these fighters a lot. This is just based on my knowledge about them. So let's just get into it. Main event, Krylov versus Spann. A very good main event in my opinion. Two guys that are always going for the finish, especially Krylov. Krylov is 29-9. Of those 29 wins, 2 only have been by decision. Those against Johnny Walker and Volkan Ozdemir. Now Ryan Spann, also a guy who doesn't want to go to the decision. He has beat Dominic Reyes, Ian Kutulaba and Serkinov in his last 5. He has lost to Johnny Walker and to Anthony Smith. Now in the striking, I feel like Ryan Spann is the more powerful guy. He's more explosive, while Krylov is the better grappler in my opinion. He has outgrappled Johnny Walker pretty handedly in their fight, while Ryan Spann had some success as well, but when going for a takedown he got knocked out with elbows to the side of the head. So I'd say that Krylov is the better grappler. He isn't the guy who waits like when he's on the hips like Krylov has done, like Spann has done. Spann went for the hips, so Johnny Walker did nothing for like 10 seconds and got his head blown in with those elbows. So yeah, Nikita Krylov, 30 years of age, Spann 31, but I feel like Spann is just getting into his prime. Like he said in his last post-fight interview against after Dominic Reyes that he didn't really train well for these fights. Now he is training well, and we've seen them just get better and better at this point. He beat Ian Kutulaba very handedly, beat Dominic Reyes very bad. That was a bad KO, man. A power jab, it says, and it's true. Like he knocked him out with the jab, and Dominic Reyes really went to sleep in that one. I feel like Krylov does have a better chin than Reyes. He is a good striker. He's pretty hittable though, and he does tend to get tired after the first and second round, but Ryan Spann does too. So I don't expect this fight to go the full 5, especially with the fact that Krylov has finished 27 of his 29 wins. So if you want to bet it, just bet not going to distance, but because even in his losses he hasn't gone to the decision. Let's see, what was the last time he went to the decision. Pretty sure it was against Sam Alvey, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, and that's right, like a split decision against Sam Alvey. He got hurt in that fight as well in the 3rd round, but yeah, guillotine, KO, decision, KO, but a lot of KOs and finishes on his record. So this fight is probably not going the distance. I am going with Krylov because I feel like although he's hittable, he has a good chin. He is very good offensively, but defensively he does lack a bit here and there. But I feel like that's the case with Ryan Spann as well. Like the chin of Ryan isn't too good. He leaves some openings when he attacks, and I feel like Nikita Krylov should be able to get his own shots in, get him to the ground here and there, and get I'll say a submission, because Ryan Spann, his defensive BJJ isn't too good. I feel like Nikita Krylov is good, although he did get submitted by Paul Craig because he went very wild. Nikita Krylov is good, but like his fight IQ, it's a bit iffy. He is someone that he tries to mix up here and there. He grappled Johnny Walker, for example, so he knows when he's in danger. He can go back to his wrestling, and I feel like he will, and he will get a submission, let's say in the 2nd round. I'm going with a rear naked choke after Ryan Spann gives up his back. So yeah, a rear naked choke, 2nd round for Nikita Krylov. Now we got Andre Muniz versus Brendan Allen. I was very high on Brendan Allen for some time, but after his loss to Sean Strickland, where he got knocked out pretty badly, I wasn't that high. Now Sean Strickland is a very good striker, don't get me wrong, but the fact that he got knocked out by him because he got like tired and stuff, that's kind of crazy to me. Because Sean Strickland, what's the last time he knocked someone out? Like, pretty sure that was the last knockout in the last 5 years for Sean Strickland. So really, kind of an iffy chin. Striking defense is bad as well. Like, he got knocked out by Chris Curtis as well. Before that, did beat Soriano. After that, did beat Sam Alvey. But like, even in that fight, he had some problems, man, against Sam Alvey. Like, in the striking, it was kind of close. Sam Alvey had some success there, and it's just such a bad look, man. And then against Jacob Malkoun, very close fight, very competitive. Malkoun out grappled Brendan Allen, but Allen just outstruck him, and that got him the win there. But Brendan Allen, he is supposed to be a grappler, and if a guy like Jacob Malkoun, who's a pretty good grappler, can out-grapple, I feel like Andre Muniz should do it to you pretty easily as well. Now, he did beat Krzysztof Jotko, but Jotko, weird performance from him. Just kind of gave up. I feel like, I don't know, it was a weird one. Brendan Allen is on a 3-fight win streak, but if we look at the wins, nothing too impressive. Sam Alvey had a hard fight against him. Jacob Malkoun, very hard fight against him, and Jotko kind of gave up. Now, if we look at Andre Muniz, Antonio Oro, it's alright. Oro isn't a good fighter. He's out of the UFC as well, so it's an alright win. Bartosz Fabinski armbar. He did submit Jacare Souza, which is pretty impressive, and then beat Eric Anders by submission as well. Uriah Hall by decision. So he's beat a better level of opposition, in my opinion. Like, Eric Anders and Uriah Hall are good fighters. Better than guys like Krzysztof Jotko, Jacob Malkoun, and especially Sam Alvey. Andre Muniz is the older guy, 33 years of age, while Brendan Allen's 27. They are about just as tall, but Muniz does have a 3-inch reach advantage, which is pretty crazy. Now, on the feet, I feel like Brendan Allen is the better fighter, but Andre Muniz, he is the much better grappler, especially much better submission grappler. He has good back control as well. He has good takedowns, and I feel like that will get him the win here. Brendan Allen is pretty tough to submit, so I'm going with a decision for Andre Muniz. I'm going with a 30-27. I think that Muniz is just a better man. Even in the stand-up, it's going to be competitive, but on the ground, I feel like it's not going to be. Although Allen is a grappler, I feel like Muniz is just on a whole another level. His BJJ is very good, so I think that will get him the win here. Now got Augusto Sakai versus Dontel Mace. Yeah, Augusto Sakai, 4 losses in a row after over him. Jorginho Rozenstruik, Taito Ivas, and Sergey Spivak. All of them by KO, TKO. Yeah, I mean, he is 31 years of age. That's not too old for a heavyweight. He did pretty good in the UFC before that, man. Beat Blago Ivanov, beat Tybura as well, but after that, he just fought a murderous Roman. Alistair over him at the time, elite. Rozenstruik still top 7, top 6 in the UFC. Taito Ivas is still top 5 right now. Sergey Spivak, I'd say he's top 5 at this point as well. Well, Dontel Mace, man, like, who's he fought? Cyril Gane, alright, Cyril Gane's good. Nascimento really isn't. Roque Martinez is out of the UFC for a reason. Josh Parisian, that was a weird fight where he did some weird stuff to him, but like, he even lost to Hamdi Abdul Wahab, but Hamdi did pop for steroids. But man, it just doesn't look good for him, man. I feel like Dontel Mace, the striking it's alright, the grappling is bad. He got out wrestled by Hamdi, who was an Olympian back in the day, but come on, man, it's really a bad look. Like, the ground game of both guys isn't good, but I would say that Sakai is the guy who will go and try to fight out of positions, man. Well, Dontel Mace will just stay on his back or just stay against the cage and try to not get submitted or something. He tries not to lose while Sakai is trying to win, and then the striking as well, I feel like Sakai is the better fighter. The chin isn't too amazing, but I don't think that Mace has the power to knock him out, and I don't think that he has the technical prowess to knock him out as well. Dontel Mace is the much bigger fighter here. The reach is bigger. He's a lot of taller as well. So let's look into what the fans are thinking. 63% going to Sakai. I'd say that's about right. At minus 110, I'd say put a little bit of money on Sakai. Not a lot, because Sakai is still pretty bad, but I feel like Don'Tale Mace is just a lot worse. Like, he is on the end spectrum of the UFC heavyweights, while Sakai, he is fringe 15, guys. So I'd say that Sakai is a much better heavyweight here. Now we got the comeback of Tatiana Suarez versus Montana De La Rosa. This is the fight we've been waiting for, or this is the girl we've been waiting for. Tatiana Suarez, man, she was a beast before she had like a lot of injuries and everything. She fought at 115. She absolutely beat the shit out of Nina Nunes, Carla Esparza, beat Alexa Grasso and Viviane Pereira, who was undefeated at the time. But man, she hasn't fought in almost 4 years, so she's moving up. A lot of injuries. 32 years of age at this point. We just don't know how the injuries have affected her, man. Like, you never know. Tatiana Suarez was a wrestling beast. People are saying that she was the Khabib of the women's divisions, and like, she was actually really good. She was very good. Like, I feel like if she didn't have the injuries, she would be a UFC champion at some point. Maybe even be the UFC champion right now, man. She's moving up though to 125, which I'm not a huge fan of. Montana De La Rosa though, not a good wrestler. I don't know where the icons are showing, but she lost to Macy Barber. Lost to Ariane Lipski, I guess. Let's see. Oh, she did beat Ariane Lipski. 1-2 draw with Maria Barrera Silva, which isn't too bad, but because Mayra did beat her last few opponents real well. But you know, she isn't a good wrestler. She's an alright grappler, alright striker as well. But I feel like Tatiana Suarez, if we see like 50% of the girl she was before the injuries, I feel like she should be able to outgrapple Montana pretty easily and win. Probably a decision, because this is 125. Tatiana hasn't fought in almost 4 years, ring rust and everything. So I'm going with Suarez. By decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if she lost, because she might just not be the same girl we've seen 4 years ago. Let's look at what the fans are thinking. I'll say that they predict that 95% or more than 95% are predicting Tatiana Suarez to win, and I am exactly right, 97%. I'm going with Suarez. And yeah, if it was the same Suarez we've seen before the injuries, I'd have to agree with it, but you never know, man. We got now Mike Malott versus Jan Lainez, two Canadians going against each other. We don't see that too often. This is a welterweight bout, two pretty big guys at welterweight. Fun fact though, Mike Malott has fought at featherweight, which is pretty crazy, and he's fought Mean Hakeem Dawodu in 2014, another Canadian guy. But Mike Malott, man, I've been very impressed with this guy. He's won his last 4 fights, all by finish, 2 KOs, 2 submissions. The submission he had on the Dana White's Contender Series was very impressive. He got taken down, but got a hold of the neck real quick and got a guillotine. And then after that, he beat Mickey Gall 9 months ago. It was pretty vicious KO. Mickey Gall isn't a good striker though, so you know that happens. Johan Lainez though beat Darian Weeks by decision, which was in my opinion a robbery. I thought that Darian Weeks won the fight. Now Weeks is out of the UFC, I'm pretty sure, so that does say something about Lainez being in the UFC. He beat Gabe Green by KO after and pretty iffy. Oh, lost to Gabe Green. My bad. Lost to Gabe Green by KO after knocking him down in the first round. The icons aren't showing, so My bad. But lost to Gabe Green by KO after knocking him down pretty badly in the first round. But you know, the gassing of Linus is just not good whatsoever. He is a very hard puncher, but the cardio just isn't there. Like, he fought pretty well against Darian Weeks, but that was real low volume from Darian Weeks and from Lioness. It wasn't a good fight, and I feel like Mike Malott, he is to maybe go to the ground with him or just fight a high paced fight. Get in there, just get gritty, maybe get him against the fence, get some blood in his arms and everything, and win a fight. I'd say by KO that way. Mike Malott, I'm really impressed with the guy. I feel like he could go and do some good things at 170. He is a striking coach at Team Alpha Male, but like, his grappling is real good as well. So I'm going with Malott here. I'm going with a KO TKO in the second round after he tires out Lioness by wrestling or grappling him. Something against the cage on the ground, just get a high-paced fight out of Lioness, and I feel like he should get it done that way. Now we got Eric Gonzalez versus Trevor Peek. The fact that this fight is on the main card kind of tells you what kind of high-level card this is. Trevor Peek, I am not impressed with this guy whatsoever. Beat Malik Lewis 5 months ago after like getting he was getting outlanded. He was getting beat in the first round, but Malik got tired, so Peek took over and got a TKO in the second round. Trevor Peek, I am not impressed with the guy because I've seen him even on the pads. Like, he's looked very weird, not technical. And normally people look real good on the pads, but even on the pads, Trevor just didn't look good. He does have some good power. He KO'd Camo Worthy, who does not have good chin, but he's undefeated, beat a lot of guys by KO, TKO. Eric Gonzalez, though, he came into the UFC short notice to fight Jim Miller. He did pretty well. Pretty sure he hurt Jim Miller in the first round, but in the second he got knocked out. Then he got beat by Terrence McKinney by submission. He did do too terrible, but you know, it's Terrence McKinney. Terrence is a good fighter, although he did get knocked out in his last fight, but Terrence is good. Eric Gonzalez, I feel like he should be able to win this fight if he fights smart, but he doesn't. So this is a 50-50 fight in my opinion. Two guys at 155 that are, in my opinion, on the lower end of the division, especially at lightweight. Lightweight is very stacked, and I feel like these guys just don't belong in the UFC at this point. Trevor Peek, he does have a lot of power, and Eric Gonzalez is pretty hittable. Like, he got knocked out by Jim Miller, but he did pretty well in the first round. So I'm not sure which way to go. I'm going with Eric Gonzalez because he does have more experience. 14-7, lost to, you know, even Bandai, not a bad fighter. Not the best wins, but yeah, I'm going with Eric Gonzalez. I feel like he has more experience. He has more experience in the UFC as well, so I'm going with him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Peek just knocks him out. Now let's see what the fans are thinking. 94% I'm going with Peek. That's crazy. I have no idea where people are picking Trevor Peek because he just isn't that great, so no idea. I guess at plus 150 he is the underdog, but man, 94% for Peek is crazy. Then next up, Gabriela Fernandez versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Like I've said, this is just a quick look. I haven't researched the fighters that well, so I have no idea who Gabriela Fernandez is. She does have a good record, and she has beat pretty good competition. Well, Jasudavicius has beat Kay Hansen, who isn't good. An 8-2 opponent, 5-5 opponent. Did get beat by Natalia Silva, but Natalia Silva is real good as well. So I have no idea who to go with. I will go with Gabriel Fernandez, but not based on any footage I've seen. Now we got Jordan Levitt versus Victor Martinez. From what I've come to understand, Victor Martinez is pretty good striker, but on the ground he isn't too great. Jordan Levitt, you know, did outgrapple Paddy Pimblett for a while before he got knocked down and submitted by him. Now Martinez fought on the Dana White's Contender Series almost a year and a half ago. He isn't a very active fighter. Like, he's fought like 1.5 years ago for the last time. I'm going with Jordan Levitt. I'm going with a decision because from what I've come to understand, Victor Martinez is a pretty good fighter. Even though he isn't too good on the ground, he is still a pretty good and experienced fighter. So I'm going with Jordan Levitt, but I'm going by decision. Now we got O.D. Osborne versus Charles Johnson. In my opinion, this fight should be higher up on the card because these two guys are always entertaining, especially Charles Johnson, very good fighter in my opinion. Just beat Jimmy Fleek a month ago, beat Jagas Jumagulov in a very controversial fight almost 3 months ago, so he's staying very active. Made his UFC debut 7 months ago against Mohamed Mokaev. Lost the fight, but did pretty well. Did not get like out grappled badly. He stood up most of the time and got no damage done to him. So yeah, that's why he was able to fight like 3 months later, and then 2 months later after that. O.D. Osborne, though, he has taken a lot of damage in his last few fights. He got absolutely knocked out cold by Tyson Nam, man. Like, he was doing pretty good in the fight. He threw a flying knee that wasn't even close to hitting Tyson Nam, and when he landed, Tyson Nam just landed the overhand from hell and knocked his ass out pretty badly. He did beat Zaruk Adashev, but Adashev, not a good fighter, out of the UFC for a reason. Beat CJ Vergara, but very close. In my opinion, it was kind of a robbery, but very close. CJ Vergara, not too good as well, so I'm not impressed with that win either. Did get beat by Manal Kape, KO, but Manal Kape top 5 in the flyweight division, in my opinion. Very good fighter. Beat Jerome Rivera by KO, but Jerome Rivera out of the UFC once again and isn't a good fighter either. Charles Johnson beat Jimmy Fleek, beat Jagas in a very controversial fight, but I feel like Charles is a better striker. He's more technical. He is the more creative guy as well, and I feel like he should get this done. I'm going with a KO TKO because O.D. Osborne doesn't have the best chin and he leaves a lot of openings out there, so I'm going with Charles Johnson. I'm going with a KO TKO in the second round. Now we got Joe Solecki versus Carl Deaton III. Carl Deaton's 5'6" at lightweight, which isn't too big. He hasn't faced the best opposition. 5-26, 12-4 lost, 19-3 lost, 16-8 Justin James. But Justin James he's alright, but nothing too crazy. Beat a guy who was 7-8 in his last fight, so a losing record before coming into the UFC, which is pretty crazy. He's 5-6. Like I said, Joe Solecki, very good grappler. Lost to Jared Gordon, but that was because he got tired. After that, he beat Alex de Silva via a majority decision. Beat Jim Miller by using his ground game. Beat Austin Hubbard by using his ground game, and beat Matt Wyman as well, also by using his ground game. He is still pretty young, almost 30 years of age. Carl Deaton III is 33. He isn't a very good fighter in my opinion. I feel like Joe Solecki should be able to dog walk him on the ground and just get a win with a submission in the second round, I'd say. Now we got Nurullo Aliyev versus Rafael Alves. Another fight I think that should be on the main card. It's pretty obvious. Like, Nurullo Aliyev, 23 years of age, 8-0, and he's fought pretty good competition already. Like, the names aren't too big and the records aren't too crazy, but like, for a guy that is 23 years of age who fought guys like 5-2 when he was 18, when he was 19 years of age, that's pretty good. Beat a guy in Josh Wick, his family of John Wick, by the way, so you know, it's pretty good a position. At 155 he's facing Rafael Alves, who's very good in my opinion. The striking is good, the grappling is pretty good as well. He submitted Mark Diakase. He had a lot of success on the ground, so Did lose to Damir Ismagulov, but he did knock him down in the first round. And Damir Ismagulov, of course, a top 15, top 10 guy in the UFC before he retired, and now he's come back, by the way. But so he put up a pretty good fight against Damir Ismagulov. Lost to Drew Dober, but once again put up a pretty good fight. Did get knocked out to the body, not to the head, but man, very close fight in my opinion. But I feel like Aliyev, if he is able to go to the ground with Alves, I think that he should be able to get a win here. But if Aliyev wins, I feel like this will go to the decision. But if Alves wins, that will be a KO or a submission, maybe guillotine or something. So I'm going with Aliyev. I feel like he should be able to out-grapple Alves, but it's a hard fight for him. Next up, Haley Cohen versus Ailin Perez. Ailin, kind of a delusional little girl. I don't know what's up with her. She was acting like she was the best fighter, women's fighter there is around. She's like very good and everything, but she really isn't. She lost the last fight against Stephanie Egger by submission. Now they're fighting at 135. That fight was at 145. Haley Cohen is pretty big for 135. She's beat alright opposition. Did lose to 1 and 2 Kaylee Clayton, which isn't a good look. But yeah, Ailin Perez, who has she beat 8 and 4, 1 and 2. 5 and 5. So the opposition from both girls was pretty iffy. I have seen Ailin Perez fight and I was not impressed. I haven't seen Haley Cohen fight, so I don't know if I should be impressed. But Haley Cohen is pretty big. She's 5'8" at 135. That's pretty huge for a woman, especially. So I'm going with her purely based on her being the bigger fighter. But I have to go and really look into it to be sure. Now I have looked into Jose Johnson because I've heard that he's pretty good, but after watching his tape, I'm not too impressed. Beat Mo Miller, but like before submitting him, he got out-grappled in the first round. He got submitted almost like 5 times almost in that fight. So it's the submission defense isn't too good. He is an alright fighter, but the guys he's faced aren't too crazy. Jake Cartwright, 10-0, but kind of a padded record. Garrett Armfield, I was real impressed when he fought David Onama. He put up a very good fight against him on short notice, like a week's notice. Got up to 145 while he's a 135, or he's 5'6", so he isn't too big either. Before that, beat Stephen Graham 10-5, 6-3, 1-0. So the level of competition isn't too crazy, but for a 26-year-old, it's pretty good. He was supposed to face Christian Rodriguez, which would have been an amazing fight, but Garrett Armfield had to pull out, I think due to injury, but I'm not sure. Now he's back against Jose Johnson. He's a good striker. He's pretty good on the ground as well, and I feel like he should be able to beat Jose Johnson on the feet and on the ground. Johnson, he has some good power. Let's see, he knocked out Perry, but he also got knocked out by Mana Martinez pretty badly, like almost 2 years ago. So the chin might be a bit of an issue, but I feel like Armfield, a better striker, good on the ground as well, and I think that he should get it done. A lot of people are going with Jose Johnson. 81% are going with Johnson, which I am not sure why. They're going with him by decision. I'm going with Armfield. I'll say decision as well. I think that he should be able to out-grapple and outstrike Johnson pretty comfortably. It will be close though. I feel like Armfield is pretty hittable on the ground, isn't too dominant because he isn't huge as well. He's 5'6", while Jose Johnson is 6 foot tall at 135, which is pretty crazy. That's even taller than Sean O'Malley. So I'm going with Armfield, but I feel like this will be a competitive 3-round fight that will go to the decision. So yeah, that was it, guys. I'm going with Krylov, Muniz, Sakai, Suarez, Malott, Gonzalez, Fernandez, Levitt, Johnson, Stolecki, Aliyev, Cohen, and Armfield. So I'm going with 11 guys from the blue corner, I think, and with 2 guys from the red corner. So yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.